Today we're going to dive into a really powerful story. It's about passion, it's about tradition, and it's about those tough choices we sometimes have to make between what we want for ourselves and what our family expects of us. This is the story of a girl named Temsula and her incredible connection to clay.
You know, it's a question I think a lot of us can relate to, right? And for Temsula, this isn't just a small problem. It's the central conflict that stands in the way of her one, single, all-consuming dream. So, at the heart of our story is Temsula. For her, working with clay, well, it isn't just some hobby. It's in her blood. It's this deep, tangible link to her mother and to her grandmother before her. It's a legacy she feels absolutely compelled to carry on.
Now, to really get Temsula, you've got to understand what it means to be a potter in her world. It's so much more than a job. It's a tradition, it's an identity that's been passed down from one generation to the next. It basically defines who her family is. Okay, but here's the thing. This is where the tension really starts to build. Temsula's mother, Arenla, she sees things differently. And it's important to know her opposition isn't coming from a bad place. It's rooted in love and a very practical view of life's tough realities.
I mean, if you look at it from Arenla's point of view, the choice is crystal clear. On one hand, you've got pottery. It's backbreaking work, it doesn't pay well, and it's messy. On the other hand, there's weaving. It pays better, it's clean, it's just less demanding. For a mother who just wants the best for her daughter, the path seems pretty obvious.
So, with her own mother refusing to teach her, you might think that's it, right? Dream over. But this is where the story takes a fascinating turn, and we see how one person's dream is really tied to the life of their entire community.
And this right here, this moment tells you everything you need to know about Temsula's character. She isn't just sitting around wishing for something. She is actively chasing her passion. Since she can't learn at home, she goes out and finds that knowledge anywhere she can, just watching, absorbing the craft through sheer will.
Then, the village elders step in and boom, they completely change the game. This suddenly isn't just a family disagreement anymore. They basically declare that pottery isn't Arenla's personal skill to keep to herself. It's a shared heritage and it has to be passed on.
So Temsula gets her wish, but it's a disaster. It is nothing like the breakthrough she was hoping for. For a whole year, her dream feels so close, yet impossible to reach. All that pressure, her own tension, it becomes this wall, and the very clay she loves just won't cooperate.
You know, after that whole year of just struggling, it becomes pretty clear that wanting it really badly isn't enough. Temsula is missing something, a key ingredient, and it shows up in the form of a totally unexpected mentor. So away from all the pressure of her mother's lessons, Temsula's struggle gets noticed by somebody new, a woman named Anula. And she doesn't see a failure, she sees a kid who's just completely blocked by her own frustration.
And Anula's approach, it's a complete 180. She doesn't start with the clay. She starts with Temsula's confidence. She goes back to the basics and, maybe most importantly, she tells her to just watch her mother, not as a student under pressure, but just as an apprentice. And that little shift in perspective, well, it changes everything.
It's that shift in mindset that leads us straight to the climax of the story, a moment where Temsula's mastery and her greatest loss become tragically and almost beautifully connected.
So picture this. They're working together, side by side, mother and daughter, just like Temsula always dreamed. But then this sudden shadow just falls over the whole moment.
And this is it. This is the moment. Arenla passes the responsibility to Temsula, not as some kind of lesson, but because she has to. For the very first time, Temsula has to face the craft completely by herself.
And in that moment, something just clicks. The tension is gone. The frustration vanishes. All that's left is pure instinct, pure muscle memory. Later, Anula discovers what she's done. 2 perfect rows of pots, so good you couldn't even tell them apart from her mother's. Temsula has finally done it.
But here's the truly heartbreaking part. Her moment of incredible triumph is also a moment of just profound loss. The very same afternoon that Temsula finally masters her family's craft, she loses the one person she wanted to share it with most. The inheritance is complete, but it came at the highest possible price.
So when you step back and look at this whole story, what can we really take away? Well, it reminds us of that constant battle between our dreams and the practical world, perfectly shown by Temsula and Arenla. It shows us that traditions aren't just kept alive by one person, but by a whole community that speaks up for them.
And maybe most powerfully, it suggests that a true inheritance isn't just something you're given, it's something you earn, through struggle, through persistence, and sometimes even through loss.
And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? Scintilla fought so hard to claim her inheritance, and she finally got it in a way she never could have possibly imagined. It makes you wonder about the skills, the stories, and the passions in our own lives. What will we fight to keep alive? And how will that fight end up shaping who we become?